think as the downtown boom happened in Philadelphia, and more businesses, certainly more people, started moving back to live in the city, there was a perception that Love Park should be purposed for them. And that, I think, was what led the city to make the decision to not allow skateboarding there. Love Park was the product of an era of urban design and of architecture that, in most regards, everyone looks at now as kind of a failed proposition. The idea that you would widen spaces in the city and kind of flatten them out and make these wide plaza areas, and the landscaping would be very restricted, and there were these big geometric shapes that were kind of imposed on the physical landscape. So it created these spaces that really from the outset were not very usable spaces, and skateboarding kind of gave them a real purpose. There's a school of thought that has always preached that it's something negative, it damages our buildings, it's graffiti, we see it kind of highlighted in such a negative sense. I was an architect, I think like many architects and designers, who saw skateboarding in a negative fashion. What changed me and what got me really recognizing what it could be was beginning to look more carefully really at why skateboarders chose the spaces they chose, and the kinds of things that they did in those spaces, and how they actually moved on their board, and physically what that meant. It wasn't competitive. You know, it was a social experience, it was kind of a cultural experience for them, and that skateboarding, in fact, was a kind of a way of engaging with the physical landscape that was, you know, just different than the way we did. The City Planning Commission began to work with local skateboarding advocates to come up with an alternative solution that would create a new skateboarding venue in the city of Philadelphia. And so some early grassroots efforts began with community organizers, with local skateboarders, with folks in the Planning Commission, that began to explore the idea of selecting a site somewhere else in the city to place a place to skateboard. They selected a site that was along the Ben Franklin Parkway, along the edge of the Schuylkill River. It was one of the reasons the city offered it as a site, is it was one of, in terms of proximity to Love Park, it was one of the closest pieces of ground that was owned by the city that they had an opportunity to develop something on top of. The chairperson of the City Planning Commission has launched this project, and the mayor of Philadelphia has had a press conference on the site and dedicated the site to skateboarding. This doesn't happen in other cities. This has never happened in another city. And even now today, you know, it's certainly taken us a long time to get where we're at, but with as far as we've come, it's very important for us to kind of refocus on what's really been achieved, despite the fact that we haven't yet built something which, you know, obviously that's everybody's goal. But there's been a lot that's really been achieved kind of conceptually, and also in terms of kind of a cultural understanding of this as a project, and people supporting it.